Brainrot is destroying our kids. Brainrot's destroying the current generation. Oh, buddy, I keep seeing this sentiment all over the internet, and it is blatantly wrong. People seem to be under the impression that Generation Alpha invented Brainrot. Like this is something the Zoomers came up with one day to poison their own people, I guess, when in actuality, we invented it. They learned it from us.
Look at my horse is amazing. Give it a lick.
It tastes just like raisin.
Budget.
But what is Brainrot? Fast-paced, short, nonsensical, over-the-top videos that anybody can enjoy. And in the early 2000s, when we had access to the internet, we created this exact genre. And the Brainrot from back then was way worse than the Brainrot of today, because back then...
Elliot, I'm surprised you didn't cause any destruction to the school property on your way in.
That's because I'm
gay!
You're all a bunch of faggots. Get out of my class.
My genitals itch.
Faggot!
We really like using slurs, and I'm talking about every possible slur in the book, including, depictions of people that were, oh man, wow. But the slurs were the joke. If you couldn't come up with something funny, if you couldn't make up a joke, well, just throw a whole bunch of slurs at the wall. Surely that'll make people laugh, and, it did. Now, the current generation of Brainrot has pretty much gotten rid of that. It's not so hateful, it's not so full of random slurs for absolutely no reason. There's at least something resembling a joke in there that we didn't have before. That's a step in the right direction. They also claim that Brainrot is destroying originality, that the rise of AI and Brainrot combined is removing any original thoughts from people's art and just making everything a carbon copy of itself with no thought whatsoever. Have you ever been on the internet? People steal everything. It happens with music, it happens with TV shows. It's been happening before the internet even existed. Once something becomes popular or a trend, people hop onto it, steal it, and make it their own. How do I know this? Because I did it myself. When I started making videos, I stole my entire look from Stuart Ashens. I stole the way that I speak.
My God. I mean, if heaven were chocolate bars, which, from all accounts, I'm assuming it is, these two guys would be at the gates.
From classic game rooms Mark Bussler.
Unless you're an immortal like the Highlander or living multiple lifetimes like Jean-Luc Picard.
And to this day, I'm still stealing, because everywhere I go, I dress up like Abel Nightroad from Trinity Blood. Generation Alpha didn't come up with a concept of stealing something and making it their own. It's been around forever. Oh ho ho, this one's my favorite. The world famous attention span argument. The internet being blamed for destroying kids' attention spans is once again not something new. See, back in the early 2000s, 85 to 90% of teenagers were on the internet rotting their brains and watching these cartoons. So what happened? Tons of kids were being diagnosed with ADD and ADHD, they were given Ritalin prescriptions, and they were put on all kinds of crazy drugs because their attention span was gone. It was 8 seconds back then. Not much has changed. I feel greatly offended because Generation Alpha is getting credit for all the things we did. We destroyed the attention spans. We rotted your brains. We're the ones that made you the way you are. And for us to have our credit stolen away from us is a terrible feeling. I'm reminded of the boomers I knew as a kid. The people that would come talk down to me and tell me how my generation was crap, how we would never get anywhere, and how their generation was the last real one. Do not become that person. Do not become that lame, boring unk that talks down to the younger generation just because you don't understand or you don't care to understand what they're consuming and why. The kids are all right. Let them have fun, bitch.